you need people to look you in your eye and respect you for being who you are, no matter what your background is. You know what I mean? Like at that moment when you meet an individual, it's usually clean slate. When you meet a stranger, whether it's business or at the bus stop or, at the airport or whatever, it's usually just clean slate. And you want to feel that
It's
when
like,
you're trying to
we can keep the knowledge to ourselves. And I mean, I know people like that. Like, I'm just, I'm stingy when it comes to the knowledge.
Yeah, I used to be like that. I feel
exactly.
I used to be like, I don't really want to tell you what I'm doing.
But then it's like, but why though?
Yeah. I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby. Everything about you. What's up, everybody? We're back with another joint session, special edition. I'm Stephen with StephenMotivate. I got my man with me again, Dream Big University's own. I am Steve James, and we got a special guest in the building today. Very excited to introduce him, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But really what we're going to talk about today is, more than money. Money's important. We want to give you always a lot of plays on what to do with your money, what to do with your mindset. But what happens when you get all of that? Like what do you do? What's really going to be the thing that is truly fulfilling, right? Like it's truly like, how am I making an impact, whether it be in your community, with your family, with your friends? How, what are you doing to really leave a legacy? And that's something that it really holds dear to my heart, because my father was really about leaving a legacy. And so I'm excited to introduce today, along the lines of this topic, my brother, my fam, the one and only Money Mitch, Jonathan Mitchell. We got him in here today. What's up, bro?
What's going on? I'm glad to be had, glad to be seen.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, brother?
What's going down?
Man, it's so good to have you in here, man. And it's such a great topic we're going to get into. First, we're going to introduce ourselves, though. Again, I'm StephenMotivate. You know me for the TURO cars. Got several cars in Charlotte, over 17 that we run on the car sharing platform. You also know me for Diamond Shine Cleaner, a product that you can find on Amazon, on Lowe's, on Walmart.com. You also know me for StephenMotivate, personal branding, motivational mindset, and money maneuvers, and a lot of other things going on. But I'm going to hand it off to my co-host, Mr. Steve James. Tell him what you all about.
Yes, sir. So Steve James out of L.A., TURO, Airbnb, printing company, music, clothing company, real estate. We about all of that, man. Entrepreneur out here.
Yes, sir. So, like I said, we back, man. Special guest. We talking about more than money. Jonathan, go ahead, man. Introduce yourself. Introduce what really what you're doing in terms of really the community, giving back, and we're gonna get into it a little bit more. But just give us an overview of what you're doing in the community.
All right. To all the people out there, my name is Jonathan Royce Mitchell. Very proud to have that name. There we go. My bad there. Mike jumping around on me.
Party foul.
Yeah, it's all right. In the community where I'm at, we are actually trying to redevelop it in a sense, in a lot of different ways, with the people and also with the landscape. So I'm actually running a nonprofit in the Midwest area, Indiana, to be specific. And we're actually just trying to, like you said earlier, give a little bit of exposure to some of the less fortunate, some of the individuals who haven't had a chance to get housing. Housing is a big issue right now in our country. So we actually been getting into that field, trying to see what we can do to help some individuals who haven't had those type of opportunities. And with the nonprofit that we actually that I'm actually over now, we've been doing reentry for years. It's really where the nonprofit started. So this is kind of like going on to another phase of it. And I'm grateful really for both of you guys to be helping me get these things to, I guess I could say bring it to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're doing, trying to put that thing together, which is, I guess I could say, the name of the podcast I want to do from for the program, which will be giving these guys the tools and the tips that they need to be successful back in society.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that you wish you could have that you didn't get early on, and we want to be able to give those guys them tips so they could, be successful as they would like to be.
Dope. So for people who don't know, like, reentry is basically, if you've heard the term, maybe you haven't, it's basically a term for anybody reentering back into society. Typically, it really just deals with folks either having served some sort of prison term or jail sentence or doing some time involved with the law. And we all know, like, the law has not always been made and not always been, what's the word I want to use? We have not always been adjudicated in our favor, being black males in America. Actually, sometimes it's the exact opposite. Like, sometimes it's like you feel like the world, the rules is working against you. Like, Steve, how many people you notice had trouble with the law in some in their life?
Yeah, no, I mean it's a huge it's a huge thing, and we just know so many people that have been affected by it, and the what you're doing is so important because people do come out and they're lost. You know what I mean? So to be able to have that platform to really give back, and get people on the right track is huge, and it's definitely needed worldwide.
Yeah, facts.
Agreed. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so and so tell us a little bit, bro, about what this looks like. Tell us your story of how you've been able to work through the process and kind of what makes reentry a passion project for you. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I guess I could start with the fact that I guess I could say I was a little ornery coming up. That was a good word to use, I think. I got into some things from my loyalty. Sometimes you loyal in areas that are to a fault, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And me not knowing everything I needed to know, which is kind of what I want to give off. A lot of times we don't really know the law as we should know it. And law changes. It's different in different states. It's different everywhere. So you need to kind of be aware of those type of things. Well, I did some time in, I guess you could say the 20 teens of this new millennium. So coming back out, it was very, very it's more like a culture shock because there's some things that wasn't there before I left. Mm-hmm. There wasn't really a lot of social media. You know what I mean? It was kind of just MySpace. It was really, really slow. Yeah. It really wasn't, so after my time and doing the incarceration and coming back out, everything was kind of like in the web. It was in a screen. It was like the new sliced bread in a sense.
Yeah.
And so kind of trying to get acclimated to that was, it was very difficult for me and gave me some reservations. So kind of, I guess you could say, getting involved with people that was really doing that, I had to learn that, man, I had to kind of get involved a little bit quicker than what I think I was ready for. To, I guess you could say, what's the best word to use? Get involved with everybody, kind of get to know everyone in a sense. Trying to be accepted on a different level instead of in a street sense. Just trying to get to know these people who move and modulate without talking in person. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like a big shaker for me, just not knowing that I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable in person. And there's nuances that you need to say that make people comfortable when you're not looking at them, because this is a different era. They learned how to communicate with actually being right there with an individual. And so that was big. It was major for me to know that a lot of people have made so much happen without actually ever having to even touch the person.
Right. So like before you go in, it's like you meet somebody in person, you talking to them, you get to read their body language.
Exactly.
You get a sense of, okay, is this person, if I'm trying to make a joke, then are they picking up on it? Are they not? Yeah. Like when you're not in front of somebody, you lose so much. Like I think we all take that for granted. Like you're not in front of somebody, you lose so much communication, because communication is not just words. It's
it's
like
everything.
how you
Yeah,
how you receiving somebody. You can just get a feel when you see them in person.
most definitely.
And so that was the way. And then you get locked up, you go away, do time, come back, and it's like that's not the norm anymore.
No, it's not the norm. So it kind of was like they people see you as a little bit aggressive because you used to, hey, what's going on? Can we make it happen right now? And they not really used to that. And so it kind of showed me that you have to really do the mind state has to be totally different. You know what I mean? You're not going to have, especially the time frame that I did a little bit of time, it's not going to be the same. So you got to kind of accept that. You have to find a way to fulfill acceptance on your own so you don't feel discouraged when you coming out dealing with all of these different things.
Yeah.
I'm humbled to be able to be getting an opportunity to be doing any of this. You know what I mean? There's I guess coming from the story I come from, you just don't think things like this is possible.
So you start after when you go down, do a bid, it's like you lose the sense of what's possible.
Exactly. You do. It puts you in a place of, if you haven't been to your lowest and you don't know what your lowest is, you either looking at it or you feeling it. You know what I mean? So now you get a chance to evaluate that. Like, man, I'm really at the bottom. You know what I mean? And sometimes some of them individuals don't really see it like that because our culture is, in a sense, glorified it in a weird sense.
In a street way.
Yeah, in a street way. You know what I mean? Because you'll get a little bit more credibility coming home because you did a little time. You know what I mean? But that's just a false narrative because you don't get anything from any of it. You know what I mean? There's not like, oh, you're only getting some props for maybe keeping it solid, but you got to be around some individuals that know what that solid was standing on. You know what I mean? If they don't really know what your solid was standing on, then what are you really standing for? What are you being solid for them individuals if it don't really have no bearings in your life? Because you're not getting a trophy.
Yeah, see, and that's the toughest part with the street life in general.
Exactly.
You know, there's like this, glorified thing. We're hearing it in our music, we're seeing it in our TV shows, we're seeing it in everything. It's like this thing is like glorified. This is what people need to be doing. Like,
Exactly.
we need to have the jewelry, we need to have the guns, the drugs, like all of that's glorified. So when it do hit the fan, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And you get sit down, then things just change. You know what I mean? And so now your mindset is, man, I'm a criminal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but your circumstances don't have to be that. Just because you're behind that,
Exactly.
them walls is like,
I learned over time that terms is kind of like everything, like the way something is actually said to you.
right.
Like the system, they say when you do commit a crime or whatever, you get in trouble. They don't really call it a crime. They call it an offense.
An offense.
So you have to start thinking about yourself in different ways. You know what I mean? They said you did something, but are you really that? You know what I mean? Like I said, some guys go down and because it's a sense of glorification, they don't really evaluate self. I think we in a time period where it's a lot less chastisement. I came up from the era of, I guess you could say, the dozens. You know what I mean? Where you had to have a little bit tougher skin. Some stuff you had to, endure and take to kind of even be around certain individuals. So if you care a little bit about yourself in some type of way to where you really, really want to go somewhere, you may not know where it is. You may not even set that goal out. You may not even have any idea where you really want to be, but you want to go somewhere. You know what I mean? That helps if you have been somebody that's been a little bit less fortunate and your environment has caused you to be in trouble or to be incarcerated or not to have the same opportunities as your peers.
Right.
So you kind of got to I think, because that's what I did. I believe that's just what helped me.
Self-evaluation?
Yeah, I started chastising Mitch. You know what I mean?
All right, boys is giving me a little bit of props for this. I'm doing a bid, yada, yada, yada. Man, he's solid. He took one for the team, and he ain't talking, he ain't snitching.
Right.
So all those props, but then you look at that like, that don't really mean nothing.
Yeah, what did
I
it
gotta
equate
s-
to? Like I said a little bit earlier, where's the goal? Where's the
What
trophy?
do I get for that?
Yeah, what
you
do I
getting
get?
A bunch of applause that don't mean it's for nothing.
Nothing, you know?
You can't take it to the bank. You can't cash it. It's
Not at
just
all.
like, good job, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe if you in some type of, depending on how deep you into something in the streets, but to your point, like what really becomes the benefit is like you start to self-evaluate or like you said, self-chastise and
Yeah.
say, so what does that process look like? Like you trying to,
Yeah, you
is
just
this
kinda,
happening? Is this happening while you in or is this happening after you already out?
Actually,
Or a little-
it had to happen. I think to be successful on the out, it's got to happen while you in. You know what I mean? Because, like I said a little bit earlier, you may get a little cocky from that. You know, like, hey, what they said. Now they slammed that steel door on you. You may feel like that is your trophy. You know what I mean? Okay, I made it. Now what do I do? You know what I mean? I got to show everybody that's maybe a gang leader or whoever that I'm tough or solid. You know, whatever the case may be, whatever you feel like you got to do to prove yourself in there. But at the end of the day, when they release you, then what?
So you built up all your stamina, all your energy, all your mindset towards, I got to deal with this environment I'm in. I have to
Exactly.
survive right now. I got to let boys know I'm not soft. You can't walk over me. You can't da-da-da-da-da. So you in that sort of mode. And then when it's over, it's like,
Yeah, what do you do? So just thinking about that when they first shut the doors, I kind of got I don't know, I think I get a higher power a little bit credit for that. I kind of forward think in a sense. So you kind of know that, all right, I really ain't got much. When I get home, it's not going to be the exact same dynamic. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do to be successful on my own because I don't think I want to go this route no more.
yeah.
You know, you get to a point where you start realizing, wait a minute, the most valuable thing, well, to me, on the planet is the time. Most expensive thing
Yeah.
is the time. Like, we all, I think, express ourselves through the material that we like. I think that's just an expression of our personalities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it gets turned to, like Steve said, that gets turned into a little bit of glorification. Like, but really it's just an expression of your personality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he likes that. I like this. You like that. You know what I mean? It never should be competition. In the street, that changes. Now I'm competing with you instead of, oh, that's just your personality. You know what I mean? It's They start seeing it as, oh, well, I ain't got that. Well, I need that. And if you plan on going straight back to where you, or if that's your only option and you're not thinking of any other way to make any type of financial moves for yourself, it's gonna be super rough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How much is the institution, the prison, the Department of Corrections helping you through that process? Can you name a few things that you feel like that they did that was super duper helpful, or is it hard to name?
Yeah, I couldn't. I can tell you that right now. I can't be cheerleading or put no pom poms up for our justice system. And what they do to help you rehabilitate yourself or to get prepared for reentry programs such as the nonprofit that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
These are all self-evaluations. In life, a lot of times you got to come to terms with the fact that there ain't no script. You know what I mean? It may sound good from somebody else on how it's supposed to be done, but until you get involved in it yourself, you're going to have to figure out what you need for self.
Right.
You know? And I believe that's why self-evaluation and chastisement sometimes is good. It's not so much just beating yourself down. It's more or less learning like, okay, I need to do something different. I need to do this a little bit different than the way I did it before.
Yeah.
Because I ain't getting nothing out of the way I was doing it previously. Mm-hmm. And for me to be thinking, oh, I didn't get nothing the first time, so it's cool, let me do it like that again. Like, you know, you gotta say to yourself, like, wait a minute, I didn't make nothing happen.
Right. So what do you think has been your biggest challenge since being out? Like when you came out, like what was the biggest challenge? I mean, like you said, it was MySpace days. So you think, was it the catching up with technology? Was it more so, you know?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both, but the technology was the biggest thing. You know what I mean? And when you used to going and seeing somebody and getting, I guess you could say, a product, and then being able to just move it throughout your community, and then now you're not trying to do that no more in no way, shape, form, or fashion. Like, you learn, man, you start really seeing how creative you can really, really be. But that's the most difficult part, I guess I can say, to answer the first part of your question, is trying to figure out what spot you fit in when you really ain't been used to, okay, I do this, like traveling and being around the country like I've been doing, I guess you could say, since I've been out. I realize it's real easy for people to just grab their phone. I'll be excited just to see the area.
Right.
You know what I mean? Folks immediately, I forget to grab my phone. You know what I mean? So it's about adjusting, but at the same time, knowing that you have to do some things that are imperative to your success and really just your living, you know, because that's what the focus is. I want to be around the adapt, is the fact that reentry it's really a lifestyle. It's not just you getting out, because you have to be committed to this if you want to stay out. You know, most of us that come from the environment that I come from, we make brash decisions and we real crass. So it's like, that's the way I've been doing it. I'm going to do it that way.
Yeah.
Not knowing that you got to look at the fact that you didn't get nothing from that. You know what I mean? You got to realize that was a resume you was building. You kind of got to look at everything that you was doing in the street in a corporate sense and realize, hey, I could do corporate, because you are doing everything in the streets for everybody. Yeah. You're from CEO all the way to the janitor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, you know, that's the crazy part too, because it's like putting your energy, like street individuals, that energy that they're putting, like you can be running a business.
Yeah.
If you put that same energy into starting something,
man,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like even if you use those funds to say, you know what, I'm done, let me put this energy into this.
Exactly.
I mean, because you have to do that. I mean, anybody that knows, I mean, if you know, when it comes down to the streets. It's just like you're here and you have your workers.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yes, it is. And they really don't see it that way.
They don't see it. It's like start a business.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you're
already a business.
Man, you already, and you've been that. Sometimes letting people know who they are be culture shock.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I learned something else while doing the time I was doing that. You can't understand everything. You got to overstand some things. Because some stuff you just can't get under.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some stuff is not going to make sense to what you're trying to do for your future. You know what I mean? If you want a future. You know what I mean? There's some people give up when they get there, when they hear that steel door shut behind them, instead of like, this is a fight. Some people accept that this is what it is, and I'm just going, you know what I mean? Not knowing you've been everything. You's a boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But having somebody really convey that to you the right way so you can be successful when you're a free man.
That's different.
It's very different. You know what I mean? And it's a pull on like your heartstrings. You kind of got to, you trying to reformulate your personality. You trying to figure out, you know, man, can I say it like this? Can I do it like that? I probably shouldn't be using that type of terminology around these type of people. You know what I mean? That's cool where I was.
Yeah.
Now that I'm here, I got to do things a lot differently, you know. So knowing all of the things that I've struggled with far as the question that y'all been asking me now, and I feel like I've done some things to combat that, to make it better for me. You know what I mean? I want to give off those nuances because it's very difficult. People are more in their minds that have been incarcerated than
what people realize.
Yeah, they're really not.
They overanalyzing it.
Yes, I believe. I'm not gonna say everyone. I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah.
But I think that's a lot of times why they find themselves a part of the recidivism rate, because the recidivism in this country is very, very high.
Right.
You know what I mean? Incarceration is big business.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really understand that. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's a comfort level? Because if it gets if it gets so hard that I got to self-evaluate, I'm overthinking of like, okay, what do I say with this group? What do I say with that group? It's like, man,
Yeah,
forget all of this.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to go be brash and let the chips fall where they may. And if I
Exactly.
end up locked up again, do you feel like that? Some people's like, man, that ain't the best. I don't even care because that's easier than me having to double question and double think about everything when I'm
Definitely.
trying to be in these rooms with all this stuff that's changing.
Definitely. I think a lot of people get to that point. You know what I mean? Streets is a
How long do you think it take to get to that point where it's like, you know what, this is easier for me. I'm just
it don't take long.
yeah.
Because a lot of the individuals that we know, and that I know, a lot of street cats know, that was very, very less fortunate as far as a family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when they first start seeing the semblance of some money, but don't really understand the money, like don't know what to do with it, you just really copycatting with the money.
Yeah, that's a crash course at that.
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Because now you are in a situation where it's like you don't have no plan. Your
Right.
plan it's like, what's your plan? If you're in the streets, what's your plan?
Yeah, and they don't be knowing a lot of them. You've been freelancing your whole life.
Yep.
You
But then-
freestyled your life.
Exactly. But then when you go in,
It's structure.
it's like, oh, now you got to follow this structure.
Yeah.
Now you got to follow this.
Right.
This is your plan now.
Exactly. So that's why I thought, why not give myself my own structure? If they gonna give me a chance to get back out these walls, you know what I mean? Because you could what they call short time. You could I did 5 years under the old law. So like time now is you'll be doing a whole lot more than that. You know, that 5 would probably be more like 7.5, closer to 8 to 10. You know what I mean? So like during that type of time, you can really be lost and not really, really, really know what's going on. So you got to, I believe you have to self-evaluate and chastise self in some type of way to break the curse.
Yeah.
Because like I said, your environment will make it so easy to be, because somebody gonna give you props, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You'll get out and they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, they gonna already have a little tiny bit of fear.
Yeah.
And you may be soft as air, you know, but they're going to feel that just because of the way the dynamic was set up in this country, in a sense.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I mean?
you going in places and it's like, oh, he was in prison. You know,
Yeah.
people
you know?
whispering or people like giving you that aura that, oh, I'm afraid of you. Like you can feel it from
Right.
people that.
And then even in the streets, it's just you still getting tested. You're going to get a couple props, but then they want to really see if you really, really built it. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's why you should, if that was to happen, which God forbid for anyone, they used to say, don't wish that on my worst enemy. And they really mean that. Because you want to see, you want to be close. You got to keep your enemies close. Friends close, enemies closer.
You don't wish
You wanna
what
be
on your
aware.
worst enemy going.
Yeah,
getting
going to
locked
prison.
up?
Yeah, being locked up. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I guess you could think it makes them smarter, may make him better than you.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you just want to be aware of everything. So I feel like if you do have to go that route, if that you're less fortunate and that happens to you, don't look at it as if, oh, well, this is what it is. I'm just gonna be incarcerated. I'm part of the system. Let's just make it happen. No, you can break the narrative. There's a lot more that you can do with your time than what you probably have done previously in life.
So and adapt helps that, right? Adapt. The
yes.
goal of it is to give people that structure because they need some sort of structure because either you gonna freelance your life again, go back to freestyling,
Man.
and you already behind from a technology standpoint. And then you got to reevaluate yourself in these rooms. People looking at you different. You don't even know how to interpret how people are judging or thinking. So adapt's goal is to do that, right? And then if exposure is one of the things that adapt wants to give people, why is that so critical to that structure? Like, what does the exposure do for somebody that can help them not go back?
I believe it's life changing. I don't believe I'd be sitting here if I didn't care about it. You know, I had a real short temper. Sometimes people when you coming up, if something don't go your way, if your personality like me, you kind of just, you don't try to refigure it out, not knowing that's what you really need to be doing. You gotta just rework it instead of going on to something else and doing what's easier. A lot of times I believe us as individuals that have came up in the street environment, we don't explore how talented we really, really could be. We take the things that are easy, you take the easy route. So it's very, 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 very critical that you find the perfect way to adapt into society after doing that, so you can move and modulate as if you didn't have that in your life. You need people to look you in your eye and respect you for being who you are, no matter what your background is. You know what I mean? Like at that moment when you meet an individual, it's usually clean slate. When you meet a stranger, whether it's business or at the bus stop or, you know, at the airport or whatever, it's usually just clean slate. You know, and you want to feel that when you're trying to be a success on the out, because our country is big on this type of thing. You know what I mean? Incarceration, the justice system is a big business. The recidivism rate is very, very high in the country.
Yeah.
Because everybody, it's easier to take the easy way out. You know what I mean?
And you have to be exposed to people, situations that are showing you, one, I value you where you at, but then two, look, this is how we deal with issues this way. And it ain't no negativity. It ain't no like, we will refigure it out. It's like, because I've heard people say like, boys feel, when you feel good at something, like boys, there's some street people that's good at doing street business.
Man.
And you feel good, I'm like, I do this well. And so why would I go do something else? You're saying that the exposure, if you could be exposed to people saying, okay, I know you do that good, but you can also do this good. It may not come as easy. You just you just have to keep reworking it, and you have to be exposed to what reworking looks like.
Yes, most definitely. You don't really know what you're really, really capable of because you've been taking the easy road. It's like, I love the game of basketball. It's kind of like, oh, dudes, I know I can get around him and get the layup.
Yeah.
But once he start playing some D, can I hit the three? You know what I mean? He's no longer allowing me to get to the cup. So, like, can I really knock the three down? Can I make the 20 to 15 footer?
Yeah.
You know, and then you got to tell yourself, yeah, I can make that. Like, he really wasn't that good playing. He was letting me get the layup.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's how you got to look at it. Like, it was easy getting that street money. I was getting a layup. But
It's the pivot.
yeah, can I hit the three though?
It's the pivot of change.
Yes.
It's like, all right, I can do this, but
Yeah. And are you really ready to tell yourself that, nah, I can really do that other? That pivot is very, very important. You got to, you know what I mean? That's a big thing, is giving yourself that self-confidence. Like, you know, and some of the individuals that I've came across in the streets, they believe they can do anything anyway. Some of these dudes can't play basketball lick, but they'll tell you, hey, man, I would have hit that. I would have got around him, hit that layup. You know what I mean? So that confidence you need to have in the same areas when it comes to doing this, because you come to find out, like, when you, that it's a lot easier than what you think. You know what I mean? We done with some dynamics with other people that really be a lot more difficult.
right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know what his feelings may be later. Like when you doing business in corporate business, you know it was solidified. After that handshake or the paperwork was signed, you know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's done because you got legal binding information and things that had to be taken care of for us to even do it. Mm-hmm. And if you so used to winging it, you know what I mean? It make it like, I could have did that way. When not really, man, you know, when you really can do the corporate that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to realize that everything that you did street is like, it gives you a one-up on the corporate, really. You just got to find that way, I feel like, to overstand. Mm-hmm. It's hard to understand, yeah, I went through this. Why was I less fortunate? Why was I, you know what I mean? You can't get under that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody had a choice of who they was, the parents they was born to, or the situation that they was set in. You didn't have no choice in that matter. But what you do is how far you go and what you want to do with it afterwards. You know what I mean? Because some people just haven't, because of the way the system was set up, they don't give themselves a chance when they get out. They just be so glad to get out. Like, and I just didn't want to be so excited to get out. That wasn't the first time I did some time. You know what I mean? I felt like everybody else that I knew was just moving in a totally different space and a totally different speed. And I'm like, man, I need to be moving in that space and speed. You know, because if not, I'm going to go straight back. You know what I mean? And I like food. The food they giving you in there ain't food.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
It's very, very critical to just really be positive on the fact that if you really been in every trench, I guess you could say trying to make some money off anything known to man, that you can do this corporate stuff is going to be super simple to you. It's not going to be as difficult as you think. And there's going to be a lot more, I guess, I's that need to be dotted, T's that need to be crossed. But I believe that's what one of my nonprofit and hopefully some other people around the country that I have been able to connect with will be able to help these individuals with. You know what I mean? Because you need somebody in your corner that believe in you. Because a lot of times hey, man, do it this way. Just start doing it like this, dog. It's going to happen right. They be like, oh, man. So as soon as it don't happen the way you said it was going to happen, I'm going right back to what I know works. I'm going to hit this layup. I'm going to stop shooting this three, dog. I'm getting embarrassed. I mean, I really am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what the coach is for. That's what the assistant coach is for, to tell you, no, bro, listen, relax. You can really make that three. You know what I mean? Like, just got to realize and be like, yeah, I can really get that job. I can actually really start that business, you know, and adapt. And my nonprofit, which is Conley Mitchell Alliance for Hope, is a company that's and a business that's gonna support you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's gonna help you along this path, because it's just gonna be tips that you need. Some guys don't know how to fill out an application to get an apartment. You know what I mean? The streets allow for a lot of acceptance. You know what I'm saying? First girl may have seen you with a couple of dollars and you done walked into the gas station and now she like you. It didn't take nothing. Y'all both 16, 17. She don't even know that you just started driving. That little money got her excited. So now you just on impressing that. All right, well, shoot, I need to go move something else. Shoot, I'm getting these type of girls and this is what I'm doing.
You skipping other steps because this is what's working for me. So I ain't thinking about how to fill out an apartment. I could,
I'm about to get she got her own crib.
I might figure out an apartment a whole different way.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm about to.
So I never have to do those other steps that now when I get out or when life changes for me, I'm lost again.
Yeah. Just know you can do them steps, these new ones. You didn't take them before. You wasn't doing those things before to be successful because you didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other stuff came real simple. But just know when you do get out or you get a chance to be free again, that you can do all of them steps and then you're going to feel so much better.
Yeah.
It's so much of a relief to really not look over your shoulder. They don't know how much of a blessing that really is until they actually feel it. You've been doing this so much that's commonplace, like tying your shoes in the morning. You know, like they say, it only take a couple of minutes or I don't know exactly how they say it, but to form a habit. You know, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, I think it's 21 days
or something like that.
Yeah.
So just imagine doing that as a youngster. 21 days happened quick.
Yeah.
That was first month of the summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you doing this every year, in and out, day in and day out. You know what I mean? That came real simple to you. And then now that you not going to have to do that, man, you're going to feel so good. Everything's not going to happen smoothly in the corporate. I'm not saying that neither because you're giving yourself a chance. But just know that now this is conducive to your success. on this American soil, you're not gonna have to worry about it as much anymore.
What Jigga said is really true. It's a million ways to get it.
Yes, it is.
Choose one, and it's like the one you think you've been choosing. There's so many other ways to get to it.
And now with what had me in the culture shock, as far as the technology getting out, that's helping everyone to really get to it.
Yep.
You know, so you don't have to sit and wait for somebody to bring you something that you gotta really, really get out there and try to hand it. You know what I mean? You need to research, just like how you found all of your clients in the street. That's how you got to find the people you're going to be dealing with to make something happen on the other end. You know what I mean? It's the same dynamic. And a lot of times they just don't really, really see it that way. But if you really realize, like I said, I guess I'm going back to my basketball analogy, like, man, I can get around him. I was getting around him last game. I really can do this. Let me go ahead and get around him and get to where I need to be so I can really make it happen. Because once you learn those tips, you know now I really ain't got to go back. Mm-hmm. It's power in knowing what you really should know to be successful. Like when you don't know those tips, it's easy to just go back and do what you was doing. You know what I mean?
You saying go back and do what you was doing, or I really don't have to go back, meaning there's like when you get out, you have maybe this little thing thinking, I'm gonna end up back here.
You've already accepted once they slam them doors that you kind of cool with going back. But the first time you go, because they be like, you can't handle this. So after you do it the first time, I like, all right, I'm good at this. Mm-hmm. So, because it's easy. I done got comfortable. I done formed a habit maybe in 21 days. I'm a youngster. Like I said, might have had a crazy family dynamic. My environment is what it is. And then learning how I ate or got me some money, very, very easy. I was able to feed myself very, very easily. But then once that stopped, oh man, I don't really understand what I was supposed to do next. So just know that nowadays, there's nonprofits and there's people out here that's trying to help you move in the right direction, because I believe that they build a lot of this stuff to just incarcerate the less fortunate. You know what I mean? Like the laws that's going on now, to me, I ain't gonna get into it too deep, but I just feel like it's supporting the system.
Yeah, it's definitely
what
true.
they doing right now with gun laws and all of that is really
crazy.
Bro, it's supporting the system. It's not for you to really be out here doing things on the corporate level, being successful on that side. You know, it's set up for you to completely fail all the way. You know what I mean? It always was really set up that way. But now they just trying to make sure you get way more time. Mm-hmm. We don't want to give you just a little bit. We want to make sure you get all of it, you know? And so that's why I say, like, it's very important to be able to adapt into society very, very, I guess the correct way, not very, very easily, but
so that's
the
dope,
correct
man.
way.
Yeah, so that's exciting, man. We got to adapt. It's coming, helping people learn how to be successful after doing a prison term. What's any final thoughts, Steve?
Nah, man, this is good, man. I just hope that the people really tapped into this. Anybody that's really going through this, just know that, that it's just because you're a product of your environment don't mean that you have to stay there. You know what I mean? You can get past that. Once you get back out to freedom, you can really change your life, and this is what the program's all about. So, really tap into that, because that's a huge thing to, kind of laser focus, and have that plan for when you get out, because there's so many people suffering with that. And the last thing you want to do is mess up and end up back in there.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? So having that proper guidance is that's key, man. So yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it pans out, and just to be a part of it is special. So
man, last thing I can say, I want to thank y'all brothers for helping me get this off the ground. You know what I mean? Believing in an individual such as myself. It's very humbling. I definitely appreciate that to the fullest. It gave me the confidence to say what I'm about to say now to these individuals as they listen or whoever may be listening. Know you was a boss out there. Know it for sure in your heart. And know on the other side you're a boss too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to, as confident as you was when you went to go serve or sell whatever you sold, you got to be the same way in the corporate. You know what I mean? It's just different terminology. And you're adding to your arsenal. You're not taking away from yourself. You know what I mean? You're building your own resume. You know, these are things you're going to really, really need. It's going to take you. You never know how far you can go. A lot of guys that I came up with, they never got outside their neighborhood. Because, like I said, the girl came easy. Just walking in the gas station because you started driving at 16. Everything came so easy. So the road's going to be a lot tougher. But you already did this. Just know that you can really, really make it happen. You know, and I would just love to distill that confidence in everyone.
Facts.
What's up, bro?
It's more for you. It's more out there. We're here to help you. We look forward to you tapping into your potential and we know you need a network. We know you need people to help you do it. So that's why you need to connect with us. We're going to help you get there. Follow me at StephenMotivate. Follow Steve James at I am Steve James. You can get in contact with Jonathan Mitchell with his email, with the ADAPT program. More coming with that. And we look forward to helping you be successful after doing a prison term. All right, we out. Peace.